What's going on, guys? It's your boy Abel here with All Things Sports. And if you guys have heard the news today, we know that Tom Brady's suspension with the NFL has been overturned. Simply, Brady won. And people, although they're talking about, wow, I can't believe, Tom Brady's suspension was overturned, people don't understand the unfathomable loss of power the NFL has just suffered. So looking back on the facts, we know that the NFL hired Ted Wells to gather all facts against Tom Brady and pretty much just overall Deflategate as a whole, and paid him $5 million to do so, which Ted Wells created his report. Now, nothing in this report was admissible in court. It was pretty much torn apart and was extremely influential in Brady's winning his decision. So Roger Goodell's use of power, specifically under the CBA in conjunction with Wells' report, was deemed excessive and unfair. So the facts of the report were not admissible in court, and Goodell's justification of his overextending use of power was also deemed excessive and unfair in of itself. So this comes after that Greg Hardy's suspension was reduced, and Adrian Peterson's case filed under the NFL's Players Association against the NFL also won in court. So the NFL has lost their last 3 decisions, and now with Brady's victory in court, precedent has been set, the very thing lacking against the NFL's argument justifying the suspension. So now every player with a reasonable case against the NFL has an avenue to take it directly to court, where precedent has been set in favor of the NFL's Players Association. Now, the NFL loves to swing a big stick with their suspensions, and that people have understood for a very long time that there really isn't much justifiable reasoning behind it. The big thing that ruled against the NFL is that Roger Goodell tried to create a parallel between the 4-game suspension of performance-enhancing drugs and that Brady's somewhat knowledge of balls being deflated was a parallel to performance-enhancing drugs, and it gave a competitive edge. The judge hated this. He threw this out completely, and perceived misuse of power is no longer justifiable, even if the CBA, between the NFL and the NFL Players Association, specifically gives up that power to the commissioner. That's in the NFL Players Association and their agreement to the NFL. That's in the CBA. They willingly gave up the power that Roger Goodell used to make that decision. It just simply wasn't justifiable. So even if it's there in writing, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can still do whatever you want. And this decision came in a New York courthouse. Now, there were 2 specific spots that this case could have gone to. The NFL Players Association brought it to a different location that in history's past had given their decisions more leniency, and the NFL chose the New York courthouse because that's like their home field advantage, where previous rulings were in favor of the NFL and other major sports organizations. They couldn't lose there. They said to Brady pretty much, fine, but we're going to New York, so if you want to take this case there, by all means, this is our home field advantage. And this is the kind of decision, after looking back and seeing that it was overturned, that gets a commissioner fired. Roger Goodell has now lost one of his most influential owners in Robert Kraft. He has lost his last 3 court decisions, and pretty much on national TV has been ostracized and seen as an individual who just completely misuses his power without a direct correlation to actual fact. Now, even if the decision itself under the CBA was seen as within his rights, the use of that power was not justified. So it kind of seems him as a tyrant, and given that we are a democracy and a people that pride ourselves in lovable use of our democratic and republic rights, this is the kind of stuff that gets you fired. But the NFL going forward is going to be in deep trouble with these kinds of rulings. But that's just my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. This is Abel with All Things Sports, and I'll see you guys later.